Here's Chapter 1 facts before we return this November 2023. Fortnite Battle Royale started September 26, 2017. Season 1 had no Battle Pass and lasted 49 days, making it the shortest season, possibly to be eclipsed by next season. Season 2 in Chapter 1 introduced the Battle Pass, featuring only 80 tiers, and lasted for 69 days. Let's talk about where the time machine is actually travelling to. Season 5 began on July 12, 2018. During Season 5, a cube named Kevin arrived on the island through a sideways rift. To close a sideways rift, it needs to be closed from both sides, otherwise they close naturally over time. These are different from pure portals, which can be closed at source. Pure portals also originate from the 0 point itself. Drift was the tier 1 skin for Season 5, a member of the Fox clan, with an interest in Mars. We find out in Chapter 2 that someone unknown gave it to him. To this day, we still don't know who gave him that mask. Season 5 would be where one of the greatest rescue attempts were attempted, on the Muselk YouTube channel, where a player got stuck. I believe he was under the build height, so he couldn't actually build up to it. Unfortunately, Muselk would fail his rescue attempt, but Fortnite would pay homage by putting a tombstone there. Season 5 was chaotic, with things rifting in and out of reality, even whole biomes, with a tomato head rifting out and a wagon rifting in. But of course, some of these things retrospectively could have been Kato forward. What do you think? Don't forget, we had the enforcers getting stuff back. This loaner screen signing back in with the description, the motel staff promised us a quiet stay without disturbance, 0 stars. Honestly, I'm excited to see what happens. Do you think the timeline is going to change? Time Machine says we're going back to Season 5, drifting around them bands. We be going from Season 5 right back to the end. People say the IO was out of line. Well, at least I didn't grab the 0 point like Paradigm. Talking about Paradigm is a limited time skin released in Season X. It would later turn out that Paradigm piloted the mech during the final showdown, which was built by the Imagined Order and Singularity. Talking about Singularity, to acquire the full skin with the helmet, you had to collect all 100 Fort Bytes. That meant you had to get Fort Byte 28 and Fort Byte 82. Painfully, I kept getting eliminated trying to solve the puzzle at 28. And for 82, I have no friends. So yeah. For 82, you needed multiple people on these pressure plates to release the Fort Byte. Of course, let's not forget about Fort Bytes themselves. They were really cool. I don't know why they haven't done anything similar since. Maybe because of them 2 challenges. Each Fort Byte would get you closer to unlocking the Vision's loading screen. Each Fort Byte would be a tiny piece of that loading screen. When Bunker Jonesy was in the bunker, he had visions of future events. But with the whole Kato Thorn thing and time traveling, and the fact that Bunker Jonesy is currently a prisoner of Kato Thorn, could this have been time travel this whole time? And the Bunker Jonesy we see in the Season 4 trailer hasn't actually gone on to draw the Vision's loading screen yet. Before we had Creative, we had Playground. This was introduced in Season 4 that allowed players to have 4 hours to do whatever they wanted on the Battle Royale island, which led to some pretty interesting videos back in the day. 1v1 me down tilted. Fortnite Creative will be released on the same day as Season 7, December 6, 2018. In Chapter 1, the ocean would eliminate you straight away if you touched it. This led to some interesting sort of clips back in the day. You also couldn't swim, sprint, mantle. So for this video, I've had to watch a load of Chapter 1 content, and it's actually mildly frustrating to watch because you're watching them and you're like, why are you not sprinting, running, sliding, or when they're pushing up against a build, why are you not mantling on top of it? It seems so unnatural now. Renegade Raider is a director. She directed the Season 4 trailer along with a host of other credits for some notable characters. Have a read of these credits and you will see Black Knight, Renegade Raider, Rust Lord. And keeping with the idea of films, the non-loopers were very bored, so they actually decided to make a whole film called It Came from Moisty Maya. This was in Season 4, which of course linked with the whole thing that was going on with the Visitor. When the Visitor's pod inside the meteorite crashed at Dusty Depot, some parts of the meteorite already broke up in space, which hit the prison. This film is actually showed through the Season 4 loading screens. Obviously they're part of the Blockbuster challenges, not to be confused with the Blockbuster challenges from Save the World. Of course, this led to Fortnite's first live event, Blast Off. At this point, you could still eliminate people during an event. There was once a free battle pass. If you completed 13 of the Season 7 overtime challenges, you got the Season 8 battle pass for free. In Chapter 1 we had some pretty goated collabs, with the Infinity Gauntlet being the real first collab. But before that, we had Search for Survivors that gave you banners from your favourite content creators. We had the Risky Reels Racket Ralph Easter egg. We would have a second Marvel collab in Chapter 1, that was in Season 8 when we had the Endgame limited time mode, where we would get Star-Lord and the original Black Widow skin that hasn't returned to the item shop since. And in Season X we had some Rift Zones which were collaborations. That was Gotham City and Pandora. Gotham City is one of my favourite POIs ever, and probably for me the best incarnation of Tilted Towers. Now I know this video is about Chapter 1, but this still counts as Chapter 1. But if you go to the cinema in Gotham City, they were teasing Chapter 2 skins from the Final Reckoning sets. Season X had some fantastic moments, but one wasn't so fantastic were the mechs. But I feel like what people forget, because most people would probably left the game by then, is they actually caught some sort of computer virus and started actually breaking on impact when they would crash down from the sky. And before that they did get heavily nerfed, but obviously most people had left by then. Of course this wasn't the only powerful item of Chapter 1. We had the Infinity Blade from another one of Epic's property of the game of the same name as the sword, Infinity Blade. I don't know if I should include the Zapatron in this because no one reused it. It went in the game as quickly as it went out the game. For 0 Point is a very important part of the Fortnite storyline, and this was first mentioned in the Season 4 Rocket event. During Chapter 1, the 0 Point would be removed from the vault, destabilised, and suck us into a black hole. This 0 Point has been a target of many factions in the Fortnite storyline, especially in Chapter 1. Of course a lot of this is retrospectively, but the Imagined Order, the Seven, and of course the Last Reality. At the time we didn't really know the Visitor's intentions, and that's another thing. When the Scientist was first added to the game, he was known as the Visitor Vulture from the Visitor set. Of course that was changed to the Scientist, part of the Seven. Because of the glitch, the Scientist was actually unlockable even if you didn't own the Battle Pass, but Epic didn't revoke the purchases, so you got to keep the skin, even if you didn't own the Battle Pass. And that's definitely a W on Epic's part. Again, another retrospective thing, because all the Seven are now released, the Scientist, the Paradigm and the Visitor don't have one of the Seven in their description, leading to speculation that they will get upgrades, which the Paradigm has gotten. The Visitor was actually going to be called the Stranger. Earlier in the video I'll talk about the Fort Bites challenges being very difficult, but opening 7 chests at Whiskey Wheels to unlock the Visitor was probably a little bit more difficult. Earlier in the video I mentioned about the Visions loading screen that showed us future events in Fortnite, but back in Chapter 1 there was a prominent creator called Jim Boffy, who would clickbait certain things. All of them though turned out to actually eventually happen in Chapter 2. Iron Man, Shark, UFOs. He didn't clickbait, he was just ahead of his time. The 0 Point comics which were released in Chapter 2 gave us important information about the bunkers. So the unanswered questions about the bunkers in Chapter 1 were answered. This is where the Imagined Order was. The government. Of course the words the Imagined Order wouldn't be uttered until Chapter 2 Season 5. Of course there is some doubt as that the government is a separate faction. I guess we may find out next season if that is indeed the case. The Chapter 1 map was and will be called Athena, which is a Greek god and one of the 12 Olympians and a child of Zeus. The Chapter 1 map was actually on the Chapter 2 island. If you look closely at Eye Island, it actually has the outline of the Chapter 1 map, according to this Eagle Eye Reddit poster. Of course Chapter 1 and Athena would end with the Black Hole event. Now during the Black Hole event there was actually communications between the Imagined Order and a redacted team. Security encryption M7 authenticated. The containment field has stabilised, the bridge is intact, the 7 succeeded, our manipulations averted disaster, the 0 Point is ours and the plan can continue, recalculating the loop shift, initialising sub-loop text transmission, redirecting received. Surprising is the sheer volume of matter resolved around the bridge. Extensive charting and analysis are required. Our best redacted D4 team has been scrambled and inserted. We expect resistance and similar embedded agents. We've been as quiet as possible, but the gaze of others may now be turned towards 0. A whole new world awaits. There would also be another black hole message, but you had to work this out from the Visitor tapes, which was recorded by the Scientists. And they were,
"What the 7 of us are attempting is very risky. I suspect they are not the only ones watching, but it must be done or we lose the bridge forever. I speculate that no one calculated the formation of the island. that interdimensional matter collisions would resolve rather than push. Now that I witnessed it firsthand, it's obvious that pinching alone made it inevitable. When I hear this again, will it help me remember? Or once looped, will I be just as muted as the others? No matter, it seems the lengthy precautions worked. The theorem was a success. You arrived outside the loop at the exact moment of expansion. This effectively paused the singularity, giving us time to create the devices needed to synchronize the junction. What I didn't factor was that the only way to trigger the device was from within the loop itself. Thus this hasty and primitive recording, and why now I find myself looped. Activate the beacon at precisely the moment this timer reaches nothing. The 0 point must be contained once more. If they are correct, it will be the end.
So the black hole event lasted for 36 hours. It lasted for 3 days. There was no Fortnite and it took the world by storm. During that there was a few numbers that popped up on the screen. Them numbers would correlate with a word in the original scientist tape. This would end up creating I was not alone, others were outside the loop. This was not calculated, that nothing is now inevitable. Fortnite has changed a lot since chapter 1. I'm sure there's people watching this video who's never played chapter 1 and probably haven't even played chapter 2. You don't know what it feels like to have to spam builds. And when I mean spam builds, back in the day you couldn't just press once and it would do it automatically. You had to press for each build you wanted to place. Some of the weirdest trap items I think I've ever seen, and some of you probably haven't even seen a standard trap, apart from death runs. And what about eliminating your teammates? You used to be able to do that. I mean, you can still do that now. Occasionally it creeps back into the game for whatever reason. But you could literally one pump them in the head if you wanted to. But guys, let me know if I've missed anything down below. I mean, this video could be 5 hours long. But guys, we're going back to chapter 1. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's been your boy Mr. JY. It's next time. Bye bye.